What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and
Did I just Debo that? Just stole that shit?
it took me probably a little longer than it should have to watch this film. And I will admit there was a part of me that was coming into this with a little trepidation, a little, I don't know if I'm going to care or be into this film. I'm talking about Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths. This is part one of I think, a three-part series that is coming all this year. I think. I should have double checked all of this. A 2024 film. And the reason why I say I wasn't sure how to feel or if I was going to be into this, not because I'm a DC hater. I've grown up and loved DC my entire life, especially the animated side of things. It's just not only maybe the live action DCEU stuff sort of painting a picture and getting me in this funk that I feel about DC at the moment. More so disappointment than not liking things. I also felt like we've done this Crisis on Infinite Earths like a bunch of times. I could have sworn there was already an animated movie back in the day. I also feel like we've done multiverse-like stories so many times across all mediums, not just superhero, but other movies and TV shows. Even the DCCW shows a couple years ago did a Crisis, and I know ultimately it's different as far as the main crux, but the bare bones, the overarching plot is the same. So I just wasn't sure if I was in the mood or ready to watch a story like this and actually enjoy it. But surprisingly, I will admit, I very much enjoyed this film. Now, it's only part one. It's very possible that by the time we get to part two or part three, it will shit the bed, it will completely fall apart, and I'll say, well, we have to reevaluate some things. But all I can do if I want to review part one right here, right now, is say, I was impressed, and I really enjoyed a lot of this. I shouldn't have been surprise DC animation for the most part. Maybe this is another reason why I was hesitant, is because I think growing up DC animation has been great, has been just killer, knocking it out of the park. But lately, it's been hit or miss for me. Lately, I'll watch something and I'll either be into it or I won't like the direction or the current animation style or maybe the changes that they do if it's an adaptation of a book and story that I already know. So for me, it's been hit or miss, but I enjoyed this one. And I think what I enjoyed the most about this and what impressed me the most about it, and also what made me think, why couldn't the DCEU do something at least in this style and tone? And I'm talking about presenting a story that is this big, that does deal with a lot of big, heavy issues and crazy multiverse stuff going on. But at the heart and the center of the story, at least for part one, Barry Allen is the heart and soul of this, and I love that. I loved being in his point of view or sticking with the character and sort of seeing what it's like for him to try to live in a singular moment, to try to live in a moment with Iris or with any members of the Justice League, but then not to his own power, against his will, be sucked into a different timeline, and he has to be like, oh shit, what's going on here? I just liked how we lived with the one character for the most part, going through it, even different points of Barry Allen's life, him being older and him sort of trying to do certain things. It made him seem way more heroic, and I appreciated that as well. Matt Bomer doing the voice was great as the Flash. And there was so many little moments too, being able to stop and breathe and spend time with him and Iris. Again, and I'm not going to do this a lot, I'll just say it this one time. They handle the Barry and Iris meeting each other and falling in love with each other and why she's so important to Barry, for his sanity, given everything that he goes through. They handle that way better than the Ezra Miller movie did. I'm gonna stop now. You won't hear me mention especially that guy's name again. But seriously, it's like, why is a cartoon handling real human relationships better than most things that tackle these characters? This was great, and I really ended up liking the Iris character anytime we jumped back and forth back to her. There was also a really powerful scene for me when uh, Bruce Wayne shows up to Barry's house and he brings along a young Dick Grayson, like a little kid version of him, and he has just lost his parents, and it's all very fresh and new to them. But Barry is trying to explain to Bruce, like, hey, maybe you can take this kid in, maybe you can watch after him, because Bruce is trying to sort of have him get adopted. And that conversation and just this age Batman not realizing, not understanding how that relationship could work, how that dynamic could work, and how he wouldn't think he'd be good for him. I just thought that kind of blew me away looking at Batman in that light. And later on, fuck, there is a scene where this Batman meets a multiverse, older version of Dick Grayson who has become Robin, who has been adopted by Batman. And fuck, that was really nice. You see how much Batman meant and means still to Dick Grayson and how much he probably needed him in his life. And then he meets his daughter, the Huntress. So many times we always bring up his son, Damian Wayne, and I hate Damian Wayne. I can't stand him. I find him super annoying. He's not interesting. Helena Wayne, the daughter of Batman and Catwoman, becoming a huntress. I want to see more stories of that. I want to see more stories of her interacting with Batman, Bruce Wayne, if somehow, some way that could happen. Because the little that we got here, I loved. We get a lot of stuff, like I said, of Barry going through time, and he sees an alternate universe of an evil Justice League. And I know we've seen evil Justice League, evil Superman a lot, but again, I thought this was handled fairly well. There's a fight with the robot Amazo that I appreciated, and also the Monitor. You have basically the setup of what probably the next two parts will be, and the Monitor always strikes me as an interesting character given that he sees all and knows all. And the threat of this movie, of the multiverse sort of being under threat, and the effect of that wave coming over the city, and how it's just like we can't do anything except for hopefully science the fuck out of it. I like that as well. Zachary Quinto also does a voice here. Jensen Ackles, I should mention him. He does the voice of the Batman that I appreciate. And the fact that we now live in a world where we're going to get more animated films that aren't going to be voiced by Kevin Conroy. Like, we don't have that luxury at all. I was very impressed with Jensen Ackles. I know it's not the first time he's done it, but I would definitely be okay with him doing even more Batman stuff. The cliffhanger of this was very interesting as well. Definitely gave me Infinity War vibes in a good way. So far, so good. I was impressed. I enjoyed Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. We shall see what comes next. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this first part of Justice League? Did you like it as well? Or are you kind of like, I don't know, I'm over the multiverse, I'm over it. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.